My name is Kong Ho. I'm the tech editor at the South China Morning Post. For those of you who may not be from Hong Kong, the South China Morning Post was founded in 1903 in the last years of the Qing Dynasty. And like many other industries, our newspaper is undergoing a digital journey of its own. If you have not read us, I hope that you will and give some feedback. So today we are gathered to talk about this topic, the Asian tigers, are they still roaring? It's a pretty broad topic, but before we get into it, maybe I ask our guests to introduce themselves in their area of interest for those of us who have not met them.
Sure, we'd love to. So I'm Herbie. I'm a partner at T3 Labs. T3 is a multi-family office based in Hong Kong, Seoul, and San Francisco. We we're more dedicated into blockchain and emerging market opportunities globally.
Good morning, I'm Ray. Thanks for coming and pleased to be on this panel with a fellow panelist. I'm with Do Capital, which is named after the founder of our fund, Peter Du. We are a venture capital firm based out of Singapore, and we focus exclusively on projects that venture in the distributed ledger technologies. We've been investing in this industry across all the crypto asset classes in the past 6 years, and we seek to promote the sustainable growth of the industry with attributes behind our capital.
Hello, this is Vincent, the founder of Herbie Capital, and we are very focused on the crypto investment, and we both invest in a certain amount of equity and also SAFT before. And recently, we are more focused on the investing in the second market for the trading and try to block trade on the altcoins.
Okay, thanks for that. Asian tigers. Now, this is a term that I haven't heard for a while now. It was very popular, maybe in the 90s when, it refers to the four rapidly industrializing economies: Hong Kong, Singapore, Korea, and Taiwan. In recent years, especially when China entered the WTO with the rapid economic growth, we hear the term Asian tigers less and less because there really is just one dragon, right? So this topic is timely in the sense that with Hong Kong and Singapore, they are global financial centers right now. Korea and Taiwan, everyone's smartphone in your pockets probably contains some component or IP because of Samsung and through Foxconn. The question really is, in the blockchain economy of the future, with a lot of advances in technology, in AI, Internet of Things, that threaten to change the way we work, live, and play, do these four economies still have relevance, and can they really just maintain, their leadership in their respective fields? It is great we have this panel because all three of my guests have experience working and living in in these places. Maybe Vincent, I'll start with you. You are now based mostly in Beijing. How do the Asian tigers look to you from the vantage point of Beijing, China?
I'm sorry. What's the last question? Last one.
How do the Asian tigers look to you? Being based in Beijing, China.
I think it's okay, and especially in this kind of I live in China, and but I travel around, and most of the time in the Asian, and just travel in the tiger countries, especially in Singapore and Hong Kong and Korea. I think I live in where I think it's not a problem for me, for myself.
Where are the most opportunities that you're seeing
in China?
In your field, maybe
right now.
Yeah.
I think this depend on, and from my especially in Asian market, I think the crypto market, blockchain market, really come back or really become very hot at the end of the 2017, and at that time the Korea market come a lot. And lately, last year, and it was not kind of hot for a while. But recently, in the Korean market, come back again. The retail investors was the retail investors, the passion come back again, and big companies, Samsung and Kakao and kind of companies have kind of try to touch the crypto a little bit. So for this kind of market, I think in the Asian market, and I think Korea have more opportunities recently. And also Singapore and Hong Kong, I think it's very flexible for the regulation, and I think a lot of, especially the security STO opportunities will come from the Hong Kong and Singapore. I think right now the stablecoins, regular stablecoins, and a kind of regular secret offering will come out. I'm not sure. Someone told me the kind of wave already finished, but I think this is just the beginning. I'm not sure when it will come out. But for us, and before we are very aggressive in the investment in the early stage, in the angel investment, and also the soft investment. But right now for us, and we are waiting for the market to come hot, and we are jumping in the later stage with the high valuation, and also with the more mature the team. This is our strategy right now. Also the opportunity we find.
We'll come back to Korea later, because I think this is a market that a lot of people are interested in. But Herbie, you're based in Hong Kong now, right?
Yeah, I just live in Hong Kong, and I spend like 1/4 the time in Hong Kong, 1/4 in Korea, 1/4 in United States, across San Fran, New York, and sometimes just elsewhere.
Right, and I know Ray lives in Singapore, so there's always this Hong Kong-Singapore thing going on, whether it's especially in financial regulation, whether it's a stock market, bond issuance, and all that.
Right.
In the crypto space, or even in blockchain, Vincent mentioned regulation, and how Hong Kong and Singapore are quite flexible. I mean, how do you see the regulatory environments in these two places, and how does that help or not help your businesses?
So I was thinking Hong Kong is not as flexible on the regulation side as Singapore. So for example, say, very recently, a lot of people are hyping into, they were saying sandbox, the new regulation on the exchanges in Hong Kong. But indeed, it's actually very tough for exchanges to be actually regulated, and after the regulation to be properly operated. And within the sandbox policy, if it's actually being executed, the margin trading will be prohibited, which means one of the largest margin trading exchanges in Hong Kong might be in a very dangerous situation. And in the meantime, in Singapore, very recently, the investment arm of Temasek and Singapore Stock Exchange, they invested in a security token offering platform called iStocks. And it's going to be launching very soon, I think early next year, and it will be offering license in Q3 this year.
I think Herbie basically summarized what I wanted to say, but if you think about it, it's very challenging for the regulators because they're dealing with the exponential rate of changes while still trying to figure out how to protect the interests of the investors and how to maintain the market integrity. But I think both jurisdictions, the regulators have shown, have taken on this challenge very, very well, demonstrated by the level of engagement with the industry players, as well as the well-thought approaches that they're taking. In Singapore, the regulatory tonality has always been rules and regulations should not front-run innovation. And as Herbie mentioned, in Hong Kong and Singapore has this sandbox for fast track approval as well. So I think, to me, both regulators in Hong Kong and Singapore, they understand and respect free market because they know that free market best determines the true value of any innovation. And therefore, they're not rushing in to put a leash on the innovation and rather, on a high level, just monitor how things will go and then follow up with the steps. So, and also I think towards the latter part of this year in Singapore, there will be some level of regulatory clarity. As a starter, there is the payment services bill, which groups all these, Bitcoin, Ethereum transactions payment under this bill. So I think all this clarity will be very helpful for this industry to move forward.
Does it matter to you that to build a business in an established financial center like Singapore or Hong Kong, or a place where maybe the regulation isn't as tight? We've seen quite a lot of. I mean, if you read the news, I'm no expert, but if you read the news, Malta and some of the other places seem to have, you see them headlines all the time. But why do you choose to base yourself, out of Hong Kong and Singapore? To the fact that they have an established capital base, does that help?
I mean, Hong Kong is a very good harbor city. Just like TOKEN2049, a lot of people they can visit very easily. But in the meanwhile, like China or some other countries, oftentimes you require visa and I think and also in at the same time, Hong Kong is very centralized for its capital and the people in there. So I think it's a good place to stay.
I think as a fund, it's slightly for us, like locating anywhere is fine. The main consideration is tax implication. But I think for a lot of crypto projects, they still choose to register their foundations in Singapore instead of other offshore entities because you don't want to deal with too many variables, especially you're talking about new technology. So you want that kind of, robustness in the financial system, in the legal framework, so that you're shielded against, additional uncertainties. And also, I think for investors and other players, if we see this project register or locate in such a mature economy, I think that gives us some level of comfort as well. And plus, these financial centers, they are the hubs of capital, of talents, and of all these activities. So I think that's probably explains why all of us cluster in these places.
I find it interesting that Asian tigers was a term that was popular for from the 60s to maybe the 90s, right? And then there was also a time when China was still closed to the outside world. When China started to open up, join the WTO in 2001, you see that China really came up, and the Asian tigers kind of found their level, I would say, right? So China now probably is not as friendly, I suppose, to crypto. When do you see China finally embracing this? And when that does happen, what will happen to the Asian tigers? Will we see another round of the same thing from manufacturing, but now you kind of...
You mean the crypto?
Yes.
I'm not sure. This question I can't answer. And for us, I think we can, just as mentioned, and even I live in China, Beijing. But this is also an interesting question. And these days I was try to open a security account, and the account opening asked me where I live and where my company. I told them my company is in Cayman Island. And he asked, right now he did not open an account, ask me why I live in China, Beijing, and I can run a company in Cayman Island. And As right now we have in fact our real office, we have an office in headquarters in New York, and we have people in Singapore. But you ask me when China government would open to crypto. I don't know. This is a question not I can answer. But we always can find the opportunities in this market. And I think, in my point of view, I think the Eastern and Western and the market were totally different. I don't know, but we should find the opportunity to how to make money. This is the key in every market, in blockchain or other industries. But I only know crypto. This is my focus.
Any views on China when it will open up?
Can you further define open up?
Well, I mean, the thing is, like I said, Singapore and Hong Kong probably kind of leading the pack in the way of regulation and being, friendly and all that, and mainland China probably not as much. Do you think that, and by extension, Singapore and Hong Kong in a way is playing arbitrage, right? Because China is so huge. As we have seen in the manufacturing age, they have this vast pool. So my question really is, if and when China does embrace crypto at the same kind of level, what will happen to the Asian tigers? Yeah.
Well, if you look at the number of patents filed in the blockchain industry, China accounts for 42 or 43% of the total patents filed in the past year. And also, if you look at the documents released by the government, I think at the end of 2016, the State Department, not State Council, has already written blockchain technology into national level development strategy. And then 22 provinces have issued documents to promote the development of the DOT technology. So I think from that perspective, and China is like really ahead of the curve in terms of the technology itself. The area that is like closed up is more like speculative activities, or there's like crypto trading, and I think from the regulatory perspective it's perfectly understandable. But that said, I do agree with you that Singapore and Hong Kong stand to benefit in the past few years because all these activities were pushed out of China. You have exchange set up in Singapore, miners moved to Hong Kong. Definitely, I think this is Singapore and Hong Kong and other Asian tigers' chance to playing this catch-up game.
Don't you need a bit of the speculative activity to make things interesting, make people excited? A bit of an animal spirit, so to speak.
Yeah, I think it's because right now attention is very valuable, and speculation draws attention to this market. If without this kind of level of attention, we wouldn't experience the velocity of technology advancement. We wouldn't have so many developers rushing into contributing to the development of technology. So I think from that perspective, it has its positive aspects, but if you look at the entire financial system stability, I think that's the top concern for regulators.
You've been very quiet.
No, I was just thinking because it's a very interesting opportunity. It's a very interesting question that you see. Actually, Korea is actually quite similar with China. We both have capital control. We both have most retail traders in the crypto market.
You're talking about Korea?
I mean, like both China and Korea at the same time. But the very funny thing is that you actually see Korea government right now more open up to blockchain and crypto right now. But the thing is that I was thinking, because China, like internally, it has much more problems to deal with. So, but at the same time, Korea, due to the lack of the economic growth, lack of the catalyst for economic growth, the government somehow right now is looking for the blockchain industry to help boost its employment rate, and to trying to find a new catalyst for its internal economic growth. So it's very funny saying that, like even I have zero blood in Korea, but like I'm also like the external counsel advisor for the blockchain industry, for the blockchain regulation in there. Yeah. And we see the Korean government is right now legalizing the exchange business, and also down the road a lot of security token related stuff in there.
In terms of talent, I mean, where do you see the biggest talent pools in Asia for your business? Yeah.
So talent.
For talent.
In Asian market, right?
Yes.
I think right now in blockchain, right? Sure, in China. Yeah, China have the most talent and hardworking people.
Right.
Yeah. I think right now that the most infra was supported by the program in China right now. More BD and also other guys was Asian market. This is my
China has the most number of people, period. Okay, so I mean that means you just have to be in China, don't you? I mean, even if you're not really based there, you do need R&D. You need to get involved there, just because the talent is there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, let's change track a little bit. Maybe just tell me about the most interesting project or opportunity that you're working on or looking at, because I'm sure the audience will be quite interested as well.
Yeah, sure. I will start with this topic. So right now, because the crypto market, like the crypto trading is cooling down. So right now we are more shifting on the venture investment in the emerging market. Especially we see some opportunities on the financial services side. Financial services as saying for the crypto lending, and payment and remittance services on top of blockchain. So for example, say there's a company in Philippines called Coins.ph, which is invested by Naspers, and it's recently acquired by Gojek. And the company, you see, like oftentimes, especially we're in Hong Kong, we see a lot of like a Filipino worker, but they have very hard time wiring money back to their homeland. And oftentimes the fees varies from 5% to even 15% for each transaction. But Coins.ph, they lowered the fee to 3%. And right now the volume of the remittance each month is over 300 million US, which is pretty decent business. Mm-hmm. And that's how we see like the blockchain actually contribute and be value add to the people and to the society. Yeah, and we also like tracking the similar opportunities in Mexico and Brazil as well. Yeah.
I want to leave some time for questions from the audience, if any. But Ray, please.
Sure. So traditionally, our fund focuses on two tracks. One is IoT. We invested in a lot of IoT projects from very base layer. That's sort of like building new Ethernet kind of projects, like the sharding of network, all the way up to the micropayments in the IoT industry. And then the second track of our focus is financial empowerment, very much similar to what Herbie just mentioned. Some, remittance projects, payment projects that's focused exclusively in the less developed markets. So I think this year, as Vincent mentioned, that private market not much going on, and we shifted our focus more towards the post-investment management and trying to do some hand holdings with our portfolios and see what kind of value we can add to them.
And I'm not sure. First, I want to say is if you're in blockchain or crypto space for a long time, I think you can see a trend is that this can distribute a lot of things, but this is just the beginning. from my point of view, there are two ways it can make sense. Is one way is just Ryan just mentioned is for the attention. I think everyone can see the trend that before we more focus on the technology and so-called distributed large technology and distributed team and very slow movement for the development, very slow. But right now, I think centralized team to develop centralized technology and to the marketing promotion is very hard. I think you know what I'm saying. Just like bands, Pro and Upbeat in this kind of market, and they drive the most attention. Drive most attention, and they expose their board for the everything. This is the opportunities. This is one opportunity. I think this is one way. Another way is you need to use a blockchain to do the real business. Can make real cash flow. But it's a little bit hard right now, and but in the long term, I think it makes sense. I'm more like the project only do the trading related, maybe do the asset management, maybe do the kind of derivative and some kind of. This is my point. I did not specify for the project, and but I'm more focused on the two side of way. And another point is this is just as I was saying in the start, and it's very dangerous in put money in the very beginning teams, and but right now I think it's okay right now, and the startups receive much more money than needed, and they did not have cash management, and make a lot of investors, especially retail investors, very suffer from the market. But I can see the future of this in the crypto, and it's a time for the serious investors to find the right approach to enter the market. For the custody, for the some people will come from the regular side, but the rest will come from the centralized team and with decentralized technology. This is my point. Yeah.
Thank you. Any serious investors on the floor want to ask some questions to our panelists? I think we have time for a couple.
So in 2017 and 2018, it seems like ICOs were really the rage for institutional investors, because that's where most of the value came from. Starting in 2018, everyone was going for protocols. In 2019, what do you see are the new hot trends for investors?
So, like for our fund strategy right now, we see, so I can tell like some of the main focus for our fund and for myself right now. So basic on the financial infra, financial services, and some of the, like the combination with the emerging market opportunity. So financial infra as for, like the custody services, custodian bank, and on-chain data analytics, anti-fraudulent, and financial services, as just mentioned earlier. So like still like exchange business, but some of the exchange business in the more hyperinflation countries like Turkey, like Argentina, like Mexico, and etc. And what else? And also the peer-to-peer OTC in some undeveloped countries as well. You see, actually, like Paxful and local Bitcoins, they're actually huge. Local Bitcoins are more active in Latin America, and in the meantime, Paxful is more active in Africa. And those kind of the project, and they're actually quite life-saving to the local people.
Yeah.
I can see a short-term opportunity for the investors. I see in blockchain right now is very specific. It's right now in the IEO exchanges, decentralized exchanges due to the decentralized fundraising. This is a certain amount of big opportunities in the next, I think at least 4 3 months. I just joking, always joking. In the last 2 years, 2017, 2018, and if you only at the end of in the December of 2017 and the January and February in 2018, if you only investor in the 3 months and you quit your position at the end of February, I think you can make a lot of money in the kind of period. In IEU, I think at least I'm not sure. I'm not sure it will become that kind of opportunities or not. But IEU should be a big opportunity for everyone in space. And this is just I mentioned in this kind of bear market it is hard for you to make money. So the drive attention is very important. Every project. If the team is still have a lot of money in cash, have a good process in the development, have a reputation in the market and active for the promotion, and if they did not have a legal problem for the IEO, I think it's an opportunity for the investors, both for the retail investment and for the traditional venture or traditional crypto fund. And also for exchanges, I think all the can follow up. I think in the next wave, every project, if he want to listing, they will do IEO. Yes. So this is my point. This is also I see the recently the opportunities in the long term. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's waiting and see. In the long term, I think just go back to the coins who have the fundamental, just as Bitcoin and some other coins, for all coins. But I can mention here is, but I already explored my opinions on how I see the long-term opportunities. If you see this kind of trend we are beginning, you can find you can buy some of the fundamental or the fundamental coins maybe you can make more money than to jump in such a project. This is my point.
I second to Vincent's last point, and I think the secondary market will be very interesting this year, because the builders. I think 2019 will be a year for builders, and builders will distinguish themselves from others. And on the secondary market, the existing capital and then the new capital, they will firstly, of course, flock to Bitcoin and flock to the blue chips. So I think there will be a lot of opportunities there. If you look at last year, a very much hyped market is really bad for innovation. And this year, because it's getting more calm, we see a lot of hard work happening, and we see a lot of blockbusters coming up this year. I think Cosmos is online today, and then in a few months' time we'll be having Polkadot. So all these large projects that claim to be solving some of the problems plaguing the industry will show if they're able to bring back some of the confidence back to the market. So yeah.
Thank you very much. I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.